Okay, we're live, but real quick, I know we don't have a lot of time, but just real quick, we got to let it breathe while we bring on Facebook. Give us just 1 second here, and we shall dive right in. Looks like we're good. Welcome in, everybody, to the rapid reaction episode of the Huddle Up podcast here at halftime of Broncos Falcons. I'm your host, Chad Jensen. With me, as always, my partner in crime and fellow football priest that you know and love. He is Zack Kelberman. Zack, this game looks eerily like last game in terms of how it has started. Everyone who hoped that Drew Lock and Pat Shurmur could build on that fourth quarter momentum with an earlier start have been sadly disappointed. But I'll say this, Drew Lock hasn't looked as lost and bad in this first half as he did last week. But the flip side of that coin is the Broncos defense can't get off the field.
There's not much of a silver lining that I see through one half of play. No, it's not on all Drew Lock or not all on Pat Shurmur, who, by the way, guys, I see it in the comments. I'm happy that Broncos country is coming around and finally being woke on Pat Shurmur's play calling. There's no creativity. There's no imagination. There's no scheming ways to get his players open like you see the Falcons do. And, Chad, I understand Matt Ryan at this juncture is a much better quarterback and a much more cohesive passer than Drew Lock. But he's just surgically picking apart the Broncos defense. And there's no reason why the Broncos against this Falcons defense can't do the same. So when you see a good offensive mind versus Pat Shurmur, the Broncos are quickly exposed. And we're seeing more of the first half last week than the second half. This is what I was worried about. So all around offense, defense, and special teams, especially, I saw Vic Fangio jawing with Tom McMahon on the sideline. Just fire the guy. I mean, nothing is going well for the Broncos. Make some changes. Have some, grapefruits.
Well, it cost him 15 yards on a nice return. How do you get an illegal substitution on a kick return? Like, seriously, how does that happen? And what happened in that, the cost is, instead of it being a 26-yard return from Tyree Cleveland, solid, that could have turned into, 41 yards, and the Broncos are in business. It cost him 15 yards because there was a face mask on that penalty. Or on that play that, ended up offsetting due to. I agree with you. Now, real quick, though, I think what Mr. Boggins, thanks for the super chat, my dog. This, to me, speaks to the story of today's game, excuse me. He says, get Devontae Harris out. I don't care if you replace him with Vic Fangio himself. While you're at it, Google image, good offensive plays for Shurmur. And, Zack, look, you're 100% right that, this doesn't absolve Locke and Shurmur for just being unable to get things going early, but the one thing you can say in their defense, and really the story of the game, is Matt Ryan is doing what veteran, competent, good quarterbacks do, and he's having himself a day feasting on this inexperienced. Two rookies are out there. You got Bassey, you got O.J. Mudia, plus you got Devontae Harris seeing his first meaningful action, and he looks like he hasn't played football in 5 years.
There's so much I want to say. First of all, it was a cool hit and all by Kareem Jackson last week, but I kind of wish he wouldn't have laid out A.J. Boye. It would have been nice to have Boye in this game. Also, can we finally all admit, can Broncos country, who was denying this, finally come around and say they should not have cut Devontae Bosby? You see Essang Bassey out there struggling. You see Devontae Harris out there struggling. He's being owned. He was decleated on a stiff arm. He was owned by a no-name player. I can't even pronounce the guy's name. Zacharias, who caught the touchdown pass. He's not an NFL caliber cornerback, but then it falls on coaching. Why is he still in the game? Why is he in single coverage? Why not get a better corner in there? I understand injuries aren't Vic Fangio's fault, but leaving Harris one-on-one, no matter who he's covering, is on the coaching. Once again, Chad, Fangio and Shurmur and Donatel, they all leave something to be desired.
It's just one of those things where, listen, guys, like, we could sit here. Zack and I, our tonality might be different on this podcast, because you can sit here and rail against Fangio. We can rail against Shurmur. But the bottom line is, all these personnel losses, the injuries, at some point, like, it's going to actually cost you real meaningful plays and games on the field. And this is where I think defensively, Vic Fangio was like the little Dutch boy with his finger in the dike, and he was able to plug one hole, and as that one's plugged, another one pops. With the injury bug, up to this point, he's been able to do that, but the dam seems to have broken, losing both Bouye and Callahan. And Mundunga's jumping in. Thanks to the Broncos Wizard. Appreciate you, dog. He says, before the season started, we were talking about the corners being a weakness. So this is what that looks like. We need Bouye and Callahan back. Rub some dirt on it and send them in. Indeed, Zack.
Well, here's the thing. They got rid of Devontae Bosby in part because they wanted Kevin Tolliver from the Bears practice squad. They promote him onto the 53. They don't even play him. What is the point? Why would you have Devontae Harris out there getting exposed and costing your team points? And we see this on all sides of the ball. So I know it's reactionary, Chad. I know it's the first half. We were saying the same things last week.
Right.
Things can still change. But it's still the red flags that you're seeing on a consistent basis. It's still those rookie coaching mistakes that you think Fangio finally has shed, and they keep rearing their ugly heads, Chad. It's maddening.
All right, we don't have a heck of a lot of time today on the rapid reaction. We get 12 to 15 minutes on the half. So let's rapid fire these supers and help everyone exercise the demons, answer as many questions as we can, and then talk about what the second half looks like. Mike Evans, everyone knows and loves Mike Evans, bona fide stud and superstar. Zach, he wants to know what the Sam Hill happened to the concept of the offense going up tempo. Yeah, it's been straight up huddling and just kind of going about their business. It didn't seem like Shurmur took any lessons from that fourth quarter.
Here's what happened. Pat Shurmur happened, and this is why I wasn't ready to crown him as, the second coming of a good offensive coordinator. You're still seeing why he's been around the NFL. He's been around the block, used and abused by NFL teams, Chad. He just can't get the offense in a rhythm. He has no idea what to do with a young quarterback. It's really sad and telling when the most creative play, when you're surprised by watching a reverse, when that leaves you in awe in the Broncos offense. That's a simple play that peewee people run. You should get creativity. Where's the jet sweeps? Where's the ways that, the Rams use their players, or the Ravens use their players, the Chiefs use their players? You have the talent. You've invested first and second round picks. Why not get the ball in their hands? Why not help a young quarterback? It's all Pat Shurmur.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, they don't have a choice. Coming out of this half, they have to go up tempo if they want to. And so maybe that's a good thing. It's Lars jumping in to say, man, Devontae Harris had a terrible half. You ain't kidding, my friend. Thank you for the super chat. It means a lot. BG in the house. Appreciate you, my dog. I guess actually we're going Mundungus. Appreciate the super, my friend. He said, whatever coach lost us Bosby, can we move him to the practice squad so he can learn? Yeah, I know it's inexplicable. Like, obviously what happened there is they prioritized Devontae Harris over Bosby for whatever reason. I've heard a lot of different rumblings. Most of it is rumor. Most of it is conjecture. I'm not going to read into it, but it was just simply the wrong decision. They put their chips on the wrong guy.
And to add some salt to the wound, guess who claimed Devontae Bosby? Guess who had enough foresight, Chad, to get Devontae Bosby on his defense? That would be Vance Joseph. That says a lot. I'm going to leave it right there.
Steve Baumgartner, appreciate you, my friend. Hope you're holding up and doing well. All things considered, you know what we're talking about. He says, one thing I can say is that Drew has looked a lot better this week. He's looked more poised, not as lost, not as kind of out of it in this game. I would say that. Thank you, Steven. Brian Greenfield, BG, why is our coaching staff so bad? I hate the defensive head coaches. Yeah, right now it's just a lot of exercising of the demons. We're here to help you do that. Zach, the coaches, again, like on the defensive side, I agree with you that there's, if you go back and look at it, coulda, woulda, shoulda, there's probably going to be some schematic things Fangio could have done differently in the first half, but I really chalk it up to two things. All right. One, the chickens came home to roost in terms of you lost all the bodies at corner and now you're paying the price. And conversely, you've been unable to get after Ryan. No pressure, zero until that final drive in which they stopped him for a field goal and you got Draymond getting a sack. No pressure plus rookies getting feasted on equals 20 points in the first half.
And it's not just no pressure. It's when they do send pressure, it's the same uncreative inside linebacker blitzes with A.J. Johnson. Nothing from the secondary, nothing from the slot. It's not getting home. And Matt Ryan is a poised veteran quarterback who a lot of people crap on. He's still very much talented, and he runs a lethal passing attack. This is not going to cut it.
Ren99, appreciate you, my friend. He says, Locke needs to learn to step up in the pocket. Yes, dude. I bet at least 4 times in this game alone. I'm like, Drew, why are you breaking early? Stand tall, trust the protection, instead of always looking to scramble out to the side. I agree with that 100%, Zach.
I do too, and it's his fault. He needs to clean that up, and it's also a byproduct of the pressure he's received throughout his career so far. The injuries, this is his quarterback development, and this is why I'm scared that Pat Shurmur has the keys to Drew Lock's development. That's what makes me very nervous.
Kenneth Booker, bona fide superstar, love you, buddy. He jumps in to say, Michael OJ needs to learn how to tackle. Agreed. We cut the wrong Devontae. Is there such a thing as a timeout, coach? LOL. Yeah, I mean, that's a story in and of itself. Headline, Broncos cut the wrong Devontae. Now, different spellings. So maybe it wouldn't work in the written word. Phonetically, it sounds good, though, Zach.
My favorite, though, is they pay McManus a huge contract to nail tough field goals, and they don't let McManus attempt tough field goals. Again, Chad, it's the coaching. I hate to say it, but coaching, coaching, coaching.
Aaron Lynch jumping in. Love you, buddy. Appreciate you. Good to see you. He says, it looked like Shermer wasn't trusting Locke early in the season, but I thought the win last week would have broken the barrier. I was wrong. Shermer just doesn't seem like the guy. He is lost. Yeah, just no traction, man. And you don't see that progression. You don't see a coordinator learning from his wins, because you learn from your failures probably more than you do your successes. And in this case, like, there was a lot of failure last week to learn from, and in the fourth quarter taught you a lot about how to get this offense in a groove, and he's not paying it forward into the next game. I don't understand it.
Well, Chad, we kind of touched on this on the Thursday pod when Pat Shurmur was asked about going up tempo. He almost answered the question with a question. He was like, "Well, that's kind of a good idea. That might work." There was no concrete dedication or commitment to it. And after last week's game, anyone with eyes and a brainstem can see that up tempo and pace works for a quarterback like Drew Lock. To go away from that is doing the Broncos offense and Lock a major disservice, and we're seeing it come out in the box score so far.
BG jumping in. Appreciate you, bro. He says, you're right, Chad. Matt Ryan and any good quarterbacks do versus garbage zone coverage, do pick it apart. Yes. I mean, that's the thing, is the good quarterbacks. I mean, just think back to when you had one of the best of all time, and Peyton Manning. He's a veteran, been in the league decade plus. He just knows, man, when there's a rookie corner on the field, like, that's where I'm looking first. And in Matt Ryan's case, he's got two rookies on the field at corner, Zach, plus Devontae Harris, who's playing like a dude that just literally came off the couch after not playing for 5 years. And not only is he getting burned, Devontae Harris, but he's playing with complete lack of poise. When he does get burned, he compounds that and it turns into an even worse gash against the team.
Yeah, that's on him, and leaving him in single coverage is on the Broncos and the defensive game plan. But also, I got to give credit where credit's due. The other team and the other players get paid as well. And Matt Ryan, again, is a great quarterback. So I tip my hat to him, but the Broncos have to step up in pass coverage. They have to get home and send more pressure.
He's just one of those quarterbacks that's been around the block, and this is child's play for him. And Fangio, look, like, you go, well, they can't manufacture pressure, send some blitzes. Well, Fangio right now is justifiably terrified to send numbers on a blitz, because those corners, man, they are not holding up on an island. Now, Ojemudia is playing significantly better than the other guys, but even he has had his snafus. KR, the queen of MHH, jumping in. Appreciate you. She says, hey, guys, thanks for working hard. This play calling is really the worst, Zach. And that's the problem, is like, the play calling, again, it's the same old story. It just doesn't seem to be improving.
And I saw a comment, I'm sure we'll get to it. It was a super chat that I saw that, it's the coach's coach and the players play. I understand that. Again, it's on Lock as well. He misses passes he should make, and his footwork is still erratic at times. But the play calling, I think the consensus by now, the majority of Broncos country, at least sees Pat Shurmur, is questionable, to put it kindly, and really bad, to put it not so kindly. It's just inconsistent, Chad. And there's no groove. There's no creativity. There's no tempo. There's no explosion. You want to see something other than vanilla. It'd be nice to have another flavor than just vanilla. How about some chocolate? How about some strawberry?
Yeah, and that speaks to what BG's saying here too, is like, why are we running the ball inside the 2-minute warning with one timeout left? I understand you're trying to catch them off guard, but if you're going to look for an explosive play, like a delay like that, or a draw, you need the twitch, you need the speed, you need the explosion. That's a play. If you're going to run it in that situation, that needs to go to Philip Lindsay, not Melvin Gordon. All right, I'm worried we might not be able to get to every single super today before the game starts up, but we'll march through as best we can. Dale Rude jumping in. Thank you, Dale. First half showing is my fear coming in. One good offensive showing followed by a regression. Really hoping things change in the second half. Thank you. Appreciate that, Dale. We do as well, my friend. And hey, do you believe in miracles? When last we spoke to you guys on a halftime rapid reaction, Zach, it looked like the clouds were knocking apart. There was no silver lining. Appreciate you, Miguel, jumping in on the super chat. And it turned around. Now, like Rich Gannon calling this game has said a few times, look, they overcame 21-point deficit last week. Zach, that's not something you hang your hat on and expect to do every week, because you got to really defy the football gods to pull that off.
It was a really astute observation by Rich Gannon. A lot of Broncos fans hate him, but he's a pretty good color commentator. I said this on one of the pods earlier this week. It'd be nice for the Broncos defense to play with the lead for once. It'd be nice for the Broncos to play at an advantage, not a deficit. And again, for another week, they're playing from behind. You're never going to consistently win that way, Chad. Good teams don't play from behind. Good teams get a lead and build on that going forward.
Tom jumping in. Appreciate you, my friend. No pressure. Only bright spot is Josie Jewell. Thanks.
Yep, that's he's good in run coverage. I will say that he's having a career year for Josie Jewell in run support. Pass coverage, he's still the same old 47. Kevin Peterson jumping in, $5 donation. Thank you so much, Kevin. He says back to untimely play calling on O and not dialing up blitzes in crucial times. Again, you guys can blame the players for not getting there, not getting the first down, not getting the sack, but who is calling those plays for the players? That would be the coaching staff. And right or wrong, it always falls at their feet. It always falls at the superior's feet. So to me, it's the coaching. You guys can disagree, but it's a common theme throughout the entire season. These are different players on the field, but still the same red flags. That's coaching.
Right. I had my dogs going off, and normally I have them outside when that's going on, but we got a blizzard going on, so apologies for that, guys. The little delay for me. We're running out of time. Let's grab KR. Jumping in again, she says, they should put a flippin' tutu on Melvin Gordon. All he's doing is throwing around like a ballerina out there, like money in the trash. It's not been good so far.
That's not an $8 million a year running back. I agree, Christy. He's like a $4 or $5 million a year running back, and with one carry with Philip Lindsay, he makes up that deficit. So it's what we've been saying all along. I'm glad you agree.
We have a question here, super from Gary. Thank you, Gary. Can we sign Prince Amukamara still? I mean, to my knowledge, he's signed. Did he sign with Arizona? I think he's with Arizona, right?
Yeah, I don't know if he got cut though.
Sure.
I'm not sure.
But look, if Callahan and Bosby, if that's going to be a lasting injury, then yeah, it's something you got to look at. If he's anyone out there that has veteran wherewithal and experience, bring him in, because this young collection. I mean, think about it. You got Bouye, you got Callahan, two vets, and then it goes off a cliff in terms of proven experience. And the Broncos were hoping they wouldn't have to rely on it, but it's the NFL, man, and such is the way it goes. Naj, as we about are out of time, anyone we miss on this live stream rapid fire, we will get to you. I promise. We'll give you some extra love on the gut reaction immediately following the show. Naj, he says, hey, brother, seems like week after week, every drive is composed of mostly 3rd and 8 or longer. No rhythm on offense, and it seems like a lot of losses on 1st and 2nd down. Very frustrating to watch week after week. And Zach, that's the one thing I want to say. Good point, Naj, is that 3rd down has been a problem because 1st and 2nd down has been a problem. And today is a great example of that, where we can point to play calling, all right? But the offensive line getting blown up, Zach and I were laughing about this right before we went live in kind of a gallows humor type of way. 1st and 10, you get a run to Philip Lindsay, 5-yard loss on 1st and 10. I mean, like, in what world does that set up a beleaguered quarterback who's still kind of figuring things out for any success? That's guaranteed punt, unless you're in the fourth quarter of week 8 against the Chargers and Miracles or being poured forth from the football gods. That's a punt. That's going to end up in a punt.
One thing I've noticed about this Broncos offense compared to the Broncos offense of years past is that when they suffer a setback, Chad, 5-10 yards, they still cannot overcome that. And if you watch the Chiefs or the Packers, another explosive offense in the NFL, they get 2nd and short. They get 2nd and 3, not 2nd and 10, not 3rd and 15. That's not conducive for success with a young offense.
And you can put that partly on Shermer, and that's justified, but it's also on the offensive line for just getting their lunch handed to them today. And here's 3rd and 4 as the Broncos are trying to pick up. You got to there you go. Move the chains. All right. David, good to see you, my friend. Been a while since we've seen you in the Huddle Up pod, but we love you. We appreciate you. Your profile pic on YouTube, still one of our favorites. He says, Zach, you need to stop. Eventually the players need to play the game. Coaches don't play and can only do so much. There is a half truth there, but it cuts both ways.
I mean, I already addressed this question, but, the coaches get the players ready to play in the game. The coaches are the ones with the game plan. The coaches are the ones calling the plays. And right or wrong, they're the ones where the blame falls at their feet. So I disagree with that comment. Nothing is good on all sides, playing or coaching, but I put it on coaching because it's a consistent pattern no matter the personnel. It's been a trend.
Locke just went deep for Tim Patrick in the end zone, and it was one of those close but no cigar moments. But, guys, we're going to dip on out of here. Stu, appreciate that super sticker, my friend. It really means a lot. I'm looking here to see if there's anyone we might have missed on Super Chat here today. Real quick, I'm just doing a quick once-over, and then we'll dip on out. Mundungus jumping in, and I don't know if you see him, John, with the give Lindsay the ball with a few exclamation points to go there. Indeed. Guys, thank you so much for being with us here on this halftime stream. Don't forget, we want you in the gut reaction immediately following the game. Zach and I are going to be coming to you live with a raw reaction. We'll have the full 60 minutes to analyze. We'll see how it shakes out. Mr. Castillo says, this chat and community is awesome. Second half of Mile High Magic. Yeah, I mean, last week taught us, Zach, that you can't turn the page. One half does not a full game make. And, there's, as long as there's a chance, there's a chance. The Broncos defied some pretty serious odds last week.
Yeah, but how many times, like you mentioned earlier, playing on Gannon's comment, how many times can you expect the Broncos to come back like that? Even though they're playing the Falcons, who are notorious for building massive leads and then heartbreakingly lose, how many times can you count on that? It's time for the Broncos to own a game from start to finish. And unfortunately, that's not going to happen today.
All right. Locke almost sacked on third down. It's going to be a field goal on their opening possession.
DeMar Dotson's out, apparently.
Oh, yikes. All right. So we missed a little bit as we gone live here a little bit into the third quarter. So we're going to dip out for now. But as Zach said and mentioned, we'll see how it shakes out. But we'll be back for the gut reaction. Please join us then. Larry jumping in to say, appreciate you, Larry. Orange-colored glasses, getting a tint of brown. Yes, indeed. And Carlos saying, stop counting points. Broncos are winning. Yeah, right. All right. Okay, we got to dip out for now, guys. Don't meet us back here at after the game for the gut reaction for Zack Kelberman. I'm Chad Jensen. Keep your chin up. Enjoy this game. We'll see how it shakes out. Appreciate John in the booth, keeping things flowing. We'll see you here in just, hour and a half or so. We'll see you then.